Global stocks plunge as the world reacts to introduced tariffs set by President Donald Trump. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Janet Roach.
And I'm Dana Smith. Sweeping 10% tariffs will start for nearly all countries on Saturday. President Trump celebrated the move as part of his Liberation Day announcement, saying it will revitalize the American economy in the long run. But many are deeply concerned as economists warn price hikes are on the way. Emily Harrison is in the studio now, breaking down how your bills could increase. And Emily, you have a closer look at the grocery store.
That is going to be the place. It's one of the most impacted day-to-day purchases for all Americans. We're going to be talking about groceries. Depending on what country is supplying the food, these prices can wildly fluctuate. So for simplicity's sake, I'm just going to focus on foods and beverages that are going to be coming from Europe. President Trump announced a 20% tariff on all imports coming from the European Union. This is going to be including items such as olive oil, cheese, chocolate, and of course, beer and wine. So how much could these tariffs cost you at the checkout line? Well, if you're going to be buying a $60 bottle of champagne, which is roughly the average price in American grocery stores, it could then rise to about $72 per bottle. This could happen if the supplier chose to pass on the entire price of the tariff over to the consumer. And it's important to note that champagne only comes from France. So there's no way around this unless you're going to be buying just sparkling wine. But even if you don't buy champagne regularly, experts say prices for all European wines, beers, and food are expected to go up. So what is not going to be going up? Well, we're going to be talking about milk, chicken, dairy products, and even eggs. This is all food that the U.S. delivers domestically. And while prices could go up, especially like we've seen in eggs, these items should not be specifically targeted because of the recently announced tariffs. So where exactly does that lead us? Well, experts say Americans should not feel these impacts immediately, but they will. Grocery stores have an inventory of these items, and once they're going to be gone, that's when they're going to be purchasing European goods at a higher price, and that price is expected to trickle down to consumers who will ultimately, potentially, foot the bill. I'm Emily Harrison, 13 News Now.
All right, thanks for breaking that down for us, Emily. President Trump previously threatened 200% tariffs on French champagne and other European spirits that ultimately did not come to pass. Now to ABC's Melissa Don, who spoke with American store owners who are staying optimistic.
Trucks moving tons of cargo today in Los Angeles at the busiest port in America. The United States imports trillions of goods each year, all of them subject to the new tariffs impacting things like electronics, appliances, toys, furniture, food, and cars.
Every day you go to the store, things are more expensive, and not just food, but things when you look across the board. Are we going to have 4 years of just prices continuing to go up?
Seems like some of the ripple effects of these things could last even longer than 4 years.
A 25% tariff is now in effect on all foreign cars and auto parts. That could raise the price of new vehicles by more than $6,000.
The customer's going to be paying 25% more on parts, which I would say to the customers, if you got some repairs that need to be done, you probably want to get them done soon.
Starting next Wednesday, President Trump is rolling out a 46% tariff on imports from Vietnam. Brands like Nike, Hasbro, and Apple produce their products in Vietnam. So a $30 shirt made in Vietnam turns into a $43.80 shirt if the business passes the entire cost of the tariff onto the consumer. Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni is hoping to negotiate with President Trump as prices for products like Parmesan cheese and olive oil are expected to spike. Trump levying a 20% tariff on products from Italy and the rest of the European Union. Some American store owners staying optimistic.
If it all looks like it's pulling in more American jobs, more American manufacturing, we're seeing more made in America on everything, then maybe it was the right move.
While others say they'll have to do with what they have to stay in business.
I'm going to have to write obscene numbers on my prices of wine. It's just going to go to affect my customers.
Another big change, popular fast fashion brands like Shein and Temu will face steep tariffs for the first time as the White House ends an exemption preventing tariffs on small dollar shipments from China. Melissa Don, ABC News, Los Angeles.
All right, as we all try to sort out just what these tariffs will mean, let's bring in Peter Shaw, TCC, Professor Emeritus of Business Administration. Thank you so much for taking some time to help us out, figure this out. All right, so the auto tariffs, let's talk about that. That went into effect just midnight.
Right.
And so a lot of people are wondering about the price of a new car. So there's a $40,000 car that's imported from another country. We're talking about $10,000 tax or tariff.
Correct. Because the 25%, you take 40,000 and you tack on the 25% tariff, you're at $50,000. And the dealerships most certainly are not going to eat that 10,000.
Right.
So that's going to be passed on to consumers. I suspect there's going to be a lot of people pausing if they're dealing with an extra 10 grand outside their budget range. They might be pausing about when they buy that car, and then figure out how to extend the use of the one they have, or maybe go buy a used car.
All right. Well, inventory. I think a lot of dealers may have been stocking up on inventory. If they've already gotten the car, it's already here. So if you're in the market for a new car, you should probably what? I
would check to see, when was it delivered when you're negotiating. Because if they attempt to tack on the tariff on you, you want to say, wait a minute, it was here before the tariff. So take that off.
What about car repairs? We had one analyst who said, if you think you have a problem with your car, get it checked out now. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely, because we import a lot of the auto parts, into this country, and they're going to be going up with the tariffs. So you really want to, if you got any repair work, get it done as soon as possible. Hopefully you can get it done before any tariff hits the cost of your vehicle, and go from there, because once they hit, you're going to have to pay it.
Yeah, so this is really going to have an impact just on the industry as a whole. But we do know that there are a number of cars that are manufactured here in the U.S., even domestic cars.
Correct.
That are okay. All right, well, we'll see what happens. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. We're going to talk to you again at 6 o'clock.
Okay.
Okay.